afternoon, everybody. How are you? Hi, my name's Bev. I'm from Be Crafty, and today we're going to be doing some mini art journaling in my little squared notebook. This is one of my favourite places to art journal. I mean, in fairness, everywhere I love to art journal, so it doesn't really matter. But this one is a particular favourite of mine, and I'll tell you for why. Because it is such this beautiful small size, it never feels like it's a big job, or it never feels overwhelming, or like I'm not going to be able to manage it. And I think that sometimes we can get in our own way when we want to maybe get some crafting time. So for example, say we haven't done it for a couple of weeks, or maybe we've just felt a bit overwhelmed, or the last time we did it, it didn't go exactly how we wanted it to, and things like that. I think it can get a little bit overwhelming. So my advice is to either grab yourself a little book like this. Like I say, this is just a little notebook, or even start art journaling on something small, loose sheets, like ATC size, tag size, something like that. Oh, my comments have gone. It keeps showing me a different live when I try and see the comments. Right, so let me come out of that. Yeah, something small. So even you could do squares, just cut yourself some card squares, some little C6 pieces, or even smaller. The whole point is trying to make it easier so that you're not getting in your own way, because that's not what you want. This is, we want to craft and relax and have fun. There we go. And you don't want to really do anything that's going to inhibit that. All right, so like I said, we're going to start in this little book. If you haven't seen this little book before, I do like to do a little flip through, because I like to. So this is a book that I bought with Sam. I buy a lot of my books with Sam because it doesn't matter where you go. Sam will walk past the shop and go, want to go in and see if they've got a book. Okay, and it's just an ace little notebook. And you can see I've done lots of pages. Now, because of all the layering and etc. you do art journaling in these books, I have had to take a lot of pages out. But I have to say, this lovely grid paper has come in very useful on other projects. So that's nothing to worry about. But I would honestly say I've taken out about 50%. And if you look at the signatures here, they're still moving into others. So I might have to remove the last couple completely. But I am really, really pleased with it. I'm debating whether to decorate the outside when I'm finished. So we'll see. Okay. And you'll see also I've been really, really good. And this is a really good girl thing for me. And made sure, because when I first started art journaling, I find it easier. I don't know if it's because I'm right-handed or whatever, to always art journal on this side. Or it's because that's how books open, I'm not sure. But with this one, I have been a really good girl. And I have made sure I've done my left-hand page every time I've done my right-hand page. So I don't get towards the end and have to do a full set of left hand. Tell you what though, I should have brought a drink in with me. I won't lie, I haven't been, since I started work this morning, I haven't been particularly active. But then, there's that flurry before I start my live. And it's like, oh, it has gone warm, hasn't it? And I'm a bit of a P2K with the warm. I like it warm, but not this warm. I am a definite, what I'd say, mid-ranger. I like a lovely 18, 19 degrees. Lovely. And this is considerably more than that right now. But not my fave. Now, I'm going to be using some catalyst cards today. But I will say also, one of the benefits of your small journal is you can use up smaller bits of backing papers, cards, scraps, that sort of thing, because it's a smaller space. So, for example, I have often in this book, you'll have seen, because we do these in A6 as well, used an A6 from New. But a really good thing to do is get your sort of things and throw them all over your desk. And then pick up just some of the scrap bits that you have. Okay, so for example, this here, I can tell you straight away, this piece of catalyst card I have used in this book because I take the corners. So I tell you what, let's use that bit up. Now, shall I see if I can quickly see which one it's used for? So it's not there. It's not there. This will be where I catch myself out and say it wasn't used in this book. No, not there. There. That's the ticket. Okay, so you can see that was quite a while ago actually. So there you go. So what we'll do is we'll just use that one, and instead of having, you know, the catalyst card corners, we'll have a catalyst card strip across the middle. Okay, so there's lots of different patterns of catalyst card. I'm struggling to remember which one that's from at the minute. I think this one is actually Catalyst Cards 1. I cannot remember. Right, so what I'm going to do is I'm just going to snip off that white edge. As you can see, it's got crinkly. This is most definitely a piece of card that has been run over by my chair. I can tell. And I think across there will be lovely. Now, what I love about this particular catalyst card is it's got lots going on, but not too much. There's still plenty of space to add on if you want. So I'm going to use a smaller brush, I think, and some matte medium. Hello, Maxine. Hello, Moira. 30 degrees in the conservatory. Sam, you should not be sat in there. Go and sit somewhere else. Just join in on your phone. We can always add in. I can always add in links later. That's where Sam's craft desk is, you see. This is where, you know, Sam's craft room has a lot better light because she's in a conservatory. But mine is basically a cupboard in the middle of the house. So, whilst I don't get a lot of natural light, or any, you're insulated from both cold and heat. So, you know, can't have it all, can you? All right, so we're going to take some matte medium. This is not a matte medium I particularly enjoy, so I'm not going to even talk about it. It's just a bit thin. But I'm sure as heck not going to waste it. So, but I'm just struggling a minute to get my favourite one. My favourite one is the Tim Holtz Collage Medium. But there are other really good ones. I really like Lynette's from Pretty Gets Gritty. And any of the Ranger ones, actually. The Dina Wakley one's really nice. There's some really good ones. But then again, that's a preference thing, actually, I should say. I prefer a medium to thick matte medium. I don't really like the thin ones too much. Even if I'm using something like stamping tissue, I still prefer a thicker medium, because I think with a thicker medium you can water it down if you need to. But if it's already really thin, you're sort of already there, you know. I'm just going to use my crafty tweezers just to press that in. Okay. Because why not? Just sort of tuck it into that seam. Lovely. All right, so then I'm going to grab, while that's having a little dry, because I do prefer not to force it dry, I'm going to grab this lovely circles. I'm going to get, because I have so many, I'm going to actually grab that one because I can't bother to clean the black ink off that one. So this is from D'Inkable set number 3. Okay. And I think that is going to add some lovely colour. I might use this in a few ways, with both some ink and maybe some texture paste. So we'll have a play with that in a sec. I just want to leave that a little bit to dry on its own. It shouldn't take too long in this heat, but like I say, it is quite a thin medium. And I was thinking today we could maybe have a go. See, I'm just wondering if that's too pastel-y. Oh, if you enjoy challenges, funnily enough, Sally from our creative team runs a challenge in the Be Crafty Stamps group every month. And this month is pastels. See, I could just see, in fairness, that should go with that, but those two are being put to the side to be used for the pastels challenge. And you can win a Be Crafty stamps voucher. That's what you're going for. And you can enter 3 times, so you can always do different projects. You can do cards, you can do ATCs, all that sort of thing. So if you do like challenges, I think I'm going to pick out some of these little clock elements. They are working for me today. I like in the black and white. Okay, so that'll do. Right, so we've picked from there. Now what next? No, too big. And not the colours I want, so that's fine. Maybe I need to do some more houses. And put my other catalyst cards away. So I feel like we kind of are committed to birds, because I still haven't cut out all of the things. Sally, I was literally just talking about your challenge. Could you hear me? That's weird. But yeah, you should definitely have a go at Sally's challenge. Like I say, pastels. I'm gonna, and I will say, we're a vibrant bunch in terms of our colour selection. At Be Crafty, and this one's, it's not without its challenges for all of us. If you're looking for any inspiration, Sally did a fantastic live over on the Be Crafty page last night. Oh, see, that's the wrong colour as well, but it's kind of vibing. Maybe. And if I use that, that'll be the second time I use mushrooms this week. And she did a beautiful pastel inspo. So the last bird I used in here was the kingfisher. Oh no. Right. I'm not going to use mushrooms because I used them on Tuesday. So that makes it somewhat redundant. I'm thinking maybe do you know what? Let's not use a bird, because I forget this isn't just birds anymore. Let's go with a dragonfly. Haven't used one of him for a while. And we will colour it in now together. I am honestly getting really warm. Right, so what we're going to do, and that's going to give that a little bit more time to dry au naturel as well, isn't it, you see? What a good idea you guys have. Well done. Right, it's a very dirty blending mat, so I've turned it over. I'm going to let's use some of the colours off there. Let's use some green and blues. And yes, that is a kind of obvious choice. And for me, I consider it to be an easy one when it comes to colouring a dragonfly. Blues and greens, it's just easy. All right, so I'm going to be using my small distress inks. And I think I'm going to go for... It'd be good if I could remember the colours I used to make these papers, couldn't it? But I'm going to go with a Mermaid Lagoon. And then a Lucky Clover. So when I am picking colours for this, what I do like to do is pick a green that's on the blue end of the scale. So a cooler green. Okay, so what I mean by that is if you look... For example, your mowed lawn, that's a warmer green. That would sit closer to the browns, oranges, okay? Whereas the Lucky Clover would sit closer to the blues, the blue hues, the colder colours. It would go closer towards black than it would towards orange or red. So, yeah. Okay, I'm apologising if there's a bit of a delay with my response to the comments. For example, what I'm watching now, I've only just opened the blue tin. So mine seems to be a bit behind. Let me pop out and see if I can get it a bit more up to date. Now it's done that thing again. Right. So that was a good idea. Well done, Bev. No, it's about the same. All right. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to put some of these on my blending mat. Just smush them on. Okay. And here, this is another, again, where you have to find what works for you with your blending. So for example, if Sam's blending with a blending tool, that's how she'll also blend. She'll smush on, whereas I'll just tap tap and then start. So if however you're using your distress you find isn't necessarily working the best way for you, that doesn't mean you can't do it. It doesn't mean it's undoable. Sometimes you just need to maybe have a go at a different method, something like that. Right, so I'm going to take, so I've spritzed this and I've got a wet brush. All right, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to work out with the Lucky Clover on the top, and then I'll work in with the Lucky Clover on the bottom, just around his wings there. I do heat emboss generally when I'm stamping and colouring in. With regards to which card I've used, whichever one had the room to stamp the Dragonfly on, I imagine. And that's the amount of consideration I'll have given it. Sometimes everything's okay and I get away with it, sometimes I don't. So, but I'm okay with that. So we're just going to work over. It is behaving oddly, isn't it, Sally? It's not just me behaving oddly. It is actually the old fake book, I reckon. So, but yeah. So if you've got the larger distress inks, or of course you could do this with oxides, the only, you know, that's absolutely fine. I mainly bought the little ones. It's a matter of storage. Like I say, I'm in a cupboard in the middle of the house. So, you know, space is limited. I mean, it's slightly bigger than Harry Potter's bedroom, but not by much. Slightly. It's got a taller ceiling because it's not under the stairs, but that's about it. And then, what shall we do next? I feel like we want to put some yellow on these bottom pieces here. Now, I'm not going to reach up and grab some more tins, and I've got some Wild Honey Distress Stain right here, so let's just use that. I am a one for using what's near me. Which is why, you know, every now and then I do have to do a complete clear down of my desk to make sure I'm then using newer things. Or, you know what I mean, just different things, not even newer things, just different things, you know. Oh, hey, I reckon, no, you guys understand. You know what it's like when you rediscover some craft products. You're like, do you know what? I haven't used those in ages, and then they live on your desk. Then, you know what? We'll do the body with that as well, and then these two little circles up here, and that is rather awesome. Okay, so what I'm going to do is, where did I put those tweezers? I'll just grab those a second and we'll give him a little dry. Now I would do stamp colouring in, and bear in mind I'm not saying I do stamping colouring in like super duper whatever. I'm more of a fast paced stamp colouring with watercolouring with distress ink and whatnot. I do that most Fridays on TikTok, so you can join me there. I'm more of a volume colouring-er. I like to really get loads coloured in ready to go in my fussy cut boxes. So if you do have TikTok, or you enjoy TikTok, or you want to get TikTok, I do a live on there on a Friday lunchtime. So there we go. And I think that is awesome. But what it does need is a little bit of white pen razzle dazzle. Okay, so I need my Posca. Sorry, my pen is very my desk is quite debris ridden today, but you know, it's a creative space. What can I say? Right, so we're going to get some little white dots on here, because we have the white highlights. I will say, Sally, I think just sitting there and saying that you're using the Dandy Daisy every day is actually pretty cruel. You know, and you're showing off just a little bit. For context, people, I have lost my Be Crafty Stamps Doodle Art Dandy Daisy, and it's one of my favourite stamps, and I'm really upset. It's in here somewhere, and the people that know what the rest of this room looks like, and not this bit, they know why it's lost in here, because they can see the chaos that surrounds me. But it will turn up. I know it will. So, sorry, white pen, razzle dazzle. Lovely. Okay. So we're gonna just, I know it goes flat after a bit in there. I'm actually fine with it. Yes. Right. So this is starting to feel dry enough, which, if you haven't seen any of my videos before and this is your first video, dry enough is a perfectly acceptable unit of measurement. Well, it is by me anyway, so. Is it dry enough to do the next bit? That's the question. And if it is, you're good to go. You don't have to be sorry, I'm on the message. I'm very glad you have your Dandy Daisy safe and sound. I think it's one of those, I was sure I'd left it on an acrylic block because it's the only one that's not in the, like I've got the backing card for it and I've still got my acetate for it. So for me, that would imply that it was still on one of my acrylic blocks. But I've checked them all and it's not. That was when I really started to get sad. I was like, oh no. If it's not on there, I really have been daft with it. Right. So, Mermaid Lagoon. I'm going to go on here. We're going to use a blending brush. I'm going to put some of these circles up into here. And then down into the corner. Obviously, you could do this before you stick your catalyst card on. But the thing you do have to realise with that is obviously you are using distress ink. And it is water activated. So if you are using a particularly wet matte medium, such as I was, you might shift it. But obviously you could get past that by sticking this on using a glue stick, like a Pritt stick, something like that. All right. So then I'm going to take my pen. And basically, because, so we've gone on to our catalyst card here. So what we're going to do is try basically extend the pattern. I have to stop saying basically. I am telling my 12-year-old off for that at the minute because you can't start a sentence without it. And then here I am doing exactly the same thing. And then that extends your pattern out. So what you're adding in becomes part of the pattern. And obviously you could do this with paint or even just draw it in if you wanted to. You know, that's the great thing with your stencils, your inkable stencils, and your mediums. You can use any mediums with them, and they just work really, really well. All right. Now, as I said, I used my mixed leaves on Tuesday, and they're still on my desk. Shock horror, I know. So let's use those again. So, for example, I'm missing one of these. Where's that? It's probably still on the acrylic block that I used it with. Haha. See? I'm a liability. Absolute liability. So as that one's on there, let's use that one. All right, I'm going to go on with black Versafine. Because we have our Dragonfly stamped in black. But look him now with the bubbles. Doesn't that just all tie in? absolutely lovely. All right, so we're going to ink that up. Let's take him off there for now. We're going to stamp over that corner. Now, I do want stamped over that corner. And that's going to be a little trickier because I've already stuck it in. It's trickier, but not impossible. So this is where stamping with super skinny slims is really, really helpful. I'm just wiping that off to stop my fingers getting really mucky. Because what I'm going to do is I'm going to place that sort of where I want it to go. And then put my super skinny slim, because you can stamp right up to the edge with them. You know, go right on the edge of your super skinny slim. All right. I didn't press that right, did you, Beverly? That'll ding dang do fine. It's because you can see my crease. That's fine. We don't worry. We don't panic. Absolutely good as gold. Right? So how are we doing on here? Lovely, lovely. But I think now we almost need to use our white pen, because we're going to soften these black leaves a little bit by adding in some of the white. And just where it's thicker lines, I'm just going to break it up with some hand-drawn dots that will also tie in with the dots, of course, that we've put around our circles. So I'll go in here, here, just go around these leaves. And then I was going to use texture paste with that one from number 3, but I think what I'm going to do instead is use some texture paste with the one from number 2. Slightly smaller dots. And where's my spatula? One of the questions I'm still asked the most, I think, when it comes to art journaling and things like that, is how do you know when you're finished? Well, on the whole, I don't. But generally, I would say stop when you like it. If you don't like it yet, or if you're concerned about it or something like that, you're not finished. Just keep going. Just keep going until you like it. I'm going to put some dots over that leaf where I've been a bit rubbish. There we go. With your inkable stencils, do make sure you wipe them off with your texture paste as soon as you're done, or at least dunk them in your water so that you can wash them at the end of your project. Then I need a black pen. Just so you know, I said the words black pen in hoping it would just, you know, it was like a summoning. Didn't work. Didn't work. So I'm going to use this brush one, which I'm not very good at doing faux stitch with this brush one. But we're going to do it anyway. Because all of the pages in this book have either a white or a black faux stitch all around the edge. For me, it gives it a definite edge. And I really like it. And to be fair, who am I kidding? I put it on nearly every page I do, regardless of what book it's in. So, what's your favourite book to art journaling? Or do you prefer to book art journal sort of on free sheets and then stick them in somewhere? That's the beautiful thing about it, isn't it? There's no sort of right or wrong way. See, and I just think that gives it a nice edge. Edgy. Okay. So then my Dragonfly, which I did have on a diagonal, I'm now thinking would look kind of stunning just straight on. It's funny how the green and blue haven't come out exactly how they did in my mind, but by adding in the blue to the corners, it's just sort of wrapped it all up. Because obviously I did have these other elements to add in. I could sort of put that underneath. Oh yes, that's quite nice, isn't it? Because it ties in the black and white from here. Yeah, let's do that. Right, and a small brush with some matte medium. We'll stick in the middle. So these frames are from the Art Stamps clocks. Okay, so you can find them in the art stamp section on the Be Crafty website. And then I'll stick a Dragonfly. He's going to need a little bit more than that there, that wasn't enough. Onto there. Alright. And then these are the Wordy stickers I was using from Tuesday, so they're on the top, so this is what I have. Left. And I think we just need to go with a ridiculously fabulous. So the thing is, I have been asked recently if I still like all my Dilutions in Dina journals because I don't do as much in them. I absolutely do. I do still. If I'm putting medium, for example, ink sprays and things and paints directly on, I will probably lean. That's what I'll definitely pick up, because you can't do that in a notebook. You have to obviously prep it more. But I think the thing is, these smaller books are so easy to replace, get a new one of when you finish it. And obviously a lot of the journals, they end up discontinued or you can't get them anymore. So it makes you sort of reluctant to use them. So that's why I'm currently working in, I think it's 3 different notebooks. So we're going to go with, let's put some matte medium on the back of there. Our Wordy stickers, hints in the name, are sticky. But I always add matte medium to the back. They are just paper stickers. I tend to cut them down and cut the rounded corners off and make them smaller, because that's how I like them. But so there we go. I'm hoping that the video will catch up. So I'll just sit here for another second. So thank you so much for joining me today. I'm actually really, really pleased with this little page. I think it very much leans into why I like journaling, art journaling in this small book. Look how quickly we've done it, and it's not like I even had the coloured in image today. You know, we coloured it in together. I know it was cut out, but still, you know, and it's half an hour. So, and I think that's where this style or this size of journaling really does give you that sort of freedom if you've only got a small amount of time or you haven't done it for a while. Like I say, because I know, for example, I haven't done as much crafting over the last couple of weeks. The kids have been off school and they're getting older now, so I realise I'm sort of on borrowed time. So I was trying to do things with them and things, you know what I mean? So I do find it sometimes difficult to get that creative gear back in play, but I'm absolutely loving that. It reminds me of something, but I can't think what. It's like a book cover or something. But thank you so much for joining me, everybody. Please make sure you like and subscribe to the Be Crafty YouTube channel. Make sure you're in the Be Crafty Stamps group so you can have a go at Sally's challenge. And like I say, feel free to join and check out Sally's live from last night on the Be Crafty page. I know I'm giving you lots of things. Write them down if you need to. And then, of course, I'll be on TikTok tomorrow doing stamping and colouring in. And I'll probably be using Doodle Art Blooming Blooms. But if there's any other Be Crafty stamps you'd like to see me stamp and colour in, absolutely let me know. Or let me know tomorrow. That's absolutely fine. I'll be there. And I can just do some colouring in and we'll talk. All right then, guys. Thank you so much. Bye.